Hey, welcome back to another episode of Hill Spring Marriage Matters. Merry Christmas! This is Christmas week, so we hope you will have a blessed Christmas. We're going to deviate a little bit. I know you find that shocking, but we're going to deviate a little bit from our review of the book His Needs, Her Needs by Willard Harley. And what we're going to do is we're going to spend a little bit of time and maybe give you some tips on how to navigate Christmas and keep your marriage intact.
Because Christmas, we all know, can be a stressful time. So we want to be able to give you a few tips to help you to maintain your sanity during the holidays and to maybe alleviate the stress and the difficulties that can come during this season. We want to be able to have a nice, calm, peaceful relationship and maintain that.
Yeah, and Satan loves to use Christmas time to wreak havoc in families and marriages. So maybe having a few strategies or helpful hints can provide a sense of peacefulness. So anyway, here we go. These are our rules. They don't have to be rules. No one likes tips. No one likes rules. To have a peaceful Christmas and avoid having a Griswold family Christmas if you get that movie reference. So number one, always pray, and then pray some more. Be in prayer together. Don't let the hecticness of Christmas interfere with your prayer time. It's easy to spring out of bed and start looking at your to-do list and, gosh, I got to make that fruit cake and I got to make the fruit salad and, gosh, I got to go throw the turkey on the smoker. And it's easy to get distracted by that. But don't skip over that. Pray together. Take control, take authority over the atmosphere, not only in your home, but in the atmosphere of the homes that you're going to. You have authority to do that. So pray for peace, contentment, and calmness everywhere you go.
Ooh, I like that. Number two, remember when we talked about in marriage, the two become one? Well, this is something we have to keep top of mind with Christmas and all the things that come along with that, the plans and whatnot. You are a united force, and you need to make sure that you are creating that oneness even through the holidays and all of the different things that come with it. So you want to make sure that you create your own holiday traditions. For Kurt and I, we decided that we were going to take Christmas morning, and that would be just for our family, and we would take time to just be with each other. Kurt and I would get up really early, and he'd make a nice fire, and we'd sit and enjoy the quiet. And then when the kids got up, we would have time with them, and we would spend time just opening presents together and have our family time before the rest of the events unfolded for Christmas with the rest of the family.
Yeah, and when we did that, we would only open one present at a time. So we even slowed that down. So number one, people could be appreciative of what they received and thank the person who gave the gift. And we wanted to teach our kids early and often to be grateful and not just rush through excuse you. Rush through the wrapping paper and get to the next gift. We slowed it down. Everyone took turns. So remember, this. You make your Christmas.
Yes.
Which then brings us to number 3: set boundaries. Right? Announce to your family what your plans are going to be. What your plans are going to be way ahead of time. Too much stress and conflict arises when you're reacting to everyone else's plans and demands on your schedules.
And you want to people please.
Right. And you haven't seen Aunt Ethel in a long time. I get it. Your mom's putting pressure, your in-laws are putting pressure on you to make sure you stop by to see Aunt Ethel. Don't let that get in the way of you setting your own traditions, your own plans for Christmas. And so, gosh, don't let your parents or in-laws guilt you in from deviating from your plans. So set those boundaries.
And be intentionally aware of each other. What I mean by this is if one of you is feeling overwhelmed and you're at a family get-together or a friends get-together, it's okay to leave early. Like when our kids were young, we stuck to a schedule because our schedule was everything. If we deviated out of that, man, we reaped the benefits of that, which were not pretty. So if you need to leave early with your kids because you want to keep them on a schedule, do it. You are in charge. We can't stress that enough. You are in charge.
Yeah, and we would actually have a little code word or code phrase. What we would say is, let's go. and it worked. And we would be over at my brother's. They don't have kids, and it'd be somewhat early, and we'd say, all right, it's time for us to go. And he'd be, oh, you know, you can stay longer. And we'd say, well, we have a choice here. We can stay longer, but then the kids are staying with you tonight because we know the spontaneous combustion that'll take place not only later in the evening, but the next morning because they didn't get enough sleep. So be aware, be intentionally aware of each other and what your needs are and what your family's needs are. And then number 5, be thoughtful. Be thoughtful of each other. And maybe this applies more to guys than to the wives. So maybe it applies more to the husbands. We had a couple that we married probably 10, 12 years ago, and he was always so distracted that with other things that maybe didn't matter as much, but he wouldn't shop for his wife until Christmas Eve day. You know, when the shelves are bare and there's not much left, and so he would always get her, quite frankly, the leftovers. And he wouldn't put much thought into it because he was rushed. There was other things going on Christmas Eve day. And so it wasn't a meaningful gift. There was no thought put into it. So she finally told him not to bother. But deep inside, you know, she was hurt. Here's the funny thing. Christmas comes every year. It doesn't sneak up on you. It's like, oh, which day is Christmas? It's always the 25th. And so, like, put some thought into it. Plan ahead. Like, get something, it doesn't have to be big, but get something that's meaningful and that says, I've been paying attention to you. I've been paying attention to your needs and your desires. So be thoughtful in your gift giving. Just don't get whatever first comes to mind. Be thoughtful and think about it. Think about it all year.
And number 6, you need to be able to balance your traditions because each of you come from a background of traditions, and you can pick and choose from those traditions what you want to bring into your own family. We had traditions that we did as a family that were genuinely ours, that we created, and there were some that we brought in from each of our families.
Yeah, and then number 7, practice forgiveness and letting go. You know, Aunt Elda is certainly going to comment on something. Maybe she'll come up to you and say, oh, dear, have you put on weight? Or, oh, dear, gosh, that fruit salad, you tried. Right? Just let it go. Right? Forgive her and just move on. You know, for some reason, after a little bit of eggnog, people tend to lose their filter. Don't let it ruin your day. And by the way, it's a choice. It's a choice to let go and forgive. So choose forgiveness. Let it flow through you to others, and then just move on.
And number 8, practice small acts of kindness towards each other, towards your kids, and towards others. Those are the things that change the atmosphere. When you are kind and you are complimentary and you are saying and doing things that are trying to uplift the other person.
Yeah, and that's so important, right? Because that can be just like a little gift every time you practice a small act of kindness. And then number 9, you know, anchor yourself in the present. Be present. Don't worry about what else is going on or what you're going to do next, or, you know, if your potatoes turned out okay. Don't worry about that. Instead, be present. When Uncle Bob is talking to you, be present. Show enthusiasm, show interest. When your grandma is trying to say something, you're not clear what it is, be present. Just be present everywhere you go. And you know what? Soak up the love and the laughter and the connections that are being made.
And finally, we want to remember what we're celebrating this time of year. We're celebrating Jesus, and Jesus is the one that brings forgiveness for all of us. And I know sometimes we struggle with certain people in our families, and we might have difficulty relating to them or being able to receive what they want to dish out. So just remember that we are celebrating Jesus. Jesus brings peace into our homes, into our hearts, and we carry that with us wherever we go. So remember that you get to change the atmosphere wherever you go by letting the peace of Jesus out and love on people, even when they're evil to you. Just love on them.
And so, you know, hopefully these were helpful, but there's nothing more important this Christmas than remembering that Christ came and died for our sins to give us salvation, to give us the connection that we have, right? Because Jesus said, what God has put together, let no man put asunder, right? And so, above all, there's nothing that's going to happen this Christmas that should create a wedge between the two of you. There's no amount of stress, there's no amount of noise, there's no amount of Aunt Elda that's going to create that. And so be focused on each other, be focused on Christ, and have a blessed, Merry, Merry Christmas. Next week, we're going to give you our New Year's resolutions for marriage. And so that's new to Lori. She didn't know that, so I just made that up. But New Year's resolutions for marriage. We'll each share our 5 resolutions for marriage that we'd like you to think about. So until
I gotta get busy.
You better. So until then, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.